February 12, 2026. Milan, Italy. Johannes Høsflot Klæbo crosses the finish line and collapses into the snow. He's just won his 9th Olympic gold medal, the most in Winter Olympics history. Medical staff rush toward him, heart rate 218 beats per minute. Blood lactate 26.8 millimoles per liter. That's like running your car engine so hot the dashboard would be screaming warnings. For context, your lactate threshold sits around 4 millimoles. Elite marathoners peak at 15. Klaebo just hit 26.8. And he's still conscious. This 29-year-old Norwegian didn't just break a record. He shattered what scientists believed was the physiological ceiling of human endurance. How is this even possible? I'm Sebastian, and this is the Injury Breakdown. Today we're solving a biological mystery. What makes Johannes Høsflot Klæbo's body different from every other human on the planet? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change how you think about the limits of human performance. Klaebo wasn't born into an Olympic dynasty. No genetic superathletes in the family tree. His father was a recreational skier. Middle-class family from Trondheim, Norway. Population 180,000. Smaller than Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But here's the first clue. At age 3, Johannes skied 5 kilometers daily just to get to kindergarten. Not because his parents forced him. He demanded it. At age 6, his mother found him sleepwalking, arms pumping in perfect double poling technique. The kid was literally dreaming in cross-country skiing. Age 12, regional competition. Klaebo destroys the course record by 2 full minutes. Officials thought their timing equipment malfunctioned. They made him race again. Same result. A researcher from the Norwegian Olympic Institute pulled his parents aside and said, quote, "I just witnessed something that shouldn't be physiologically possible at this age." 4 years later, at 16, Klaebo walked into the Oslo Sports Science Laboratory for his first VO2 max test. VO2 max, think of it as your body's horsepower rating. It measures maximum oxygen your cardiovascular system can deliver to muscles per minute. Average untrained person, 35 to 40, that's a Honda Civic. Elite marathoner Eliud Kipchoge, 84, that's a sports car. The technicians strapped the mask on teenage Klaebo and watched the numbers climb. 40, 60, 70, 80. At 87 milliliters per kilogram per minute, they stopped. Not because Klaebo quit, because they'd never seen this in a 16-year-old human. Dr. Øyvind Sandbakk published a case study. This subject represents a statistical outlier that challenges our understanding of adolescent cardiovascular development. Translation: this kid's engine is already bigger than 99.9% of professional adult endurance athletes. Here's where it gets wild. Having a massive VO2 max doesn't automatically make you a champion. In 1994, researchers tested Norwegian skier Espen Harald Bjerke and recorded 96, the highest VO2 max ever officially measured. A literal Ferrari engine. Bjerke never won an Olympic medal. Not one. Why? Because VO2 max is only one piece. It's horsepower without efficiency. This is where Klaebo breaks every rule. Let me introduce lactate threshold. Your body constantly produces lactate, the metabolic byproduct when muscles burn fuel. Think exhaust from an engine. At low intensities, your body clears it as fast as it's produced. Push harder, production outpaces clearance. Lactate accumulates. Muscles burn. You slow down. That tipping point is your lactate threshold. Most people, 70 to 75% of max effort. Elite athletes, 85%. Klaebo's superpower? He maintains 90 to 92% of his VO2 max for 30 to 50 minutes without significant lactate accumulation. Imagine running an entire 10K race at the pace you'd sprint the last 200 meters. That's what Klaebo does. On skis, in snow, at altitude. During the 2018 Pyeongchang skiathlon, Portable sensors tracked him in real time. For the final 5 kilometers uphill, he maintained 95% of his VO2 max for 12 straight minutes. His competitors were at 82 to 85%, already redlining. Klæbo found another gear. He won gold. Then vomited for 10 minutes straight, the biological price tag. But there's a twist. Cross-country skiing isn't just about the engine or threshold. It's about efficiency, economy of movement. You and I might drive the same car, same engine, same fuel. But smooth driving, perfectly timed shifts, optimal tire pressure gets 40 miles per gallon. Jerky acceleration and hard braking? 25. Same car, different efficiency. In 2020, Biomechanics researchers used 3D motion capture to analyze Klaebo's technique frame by frame. They compared him to the world's top 10. Klaebo glides 12 centimeters further per stride than the average elite skier. It sounds small, right? But over a 15-kilometer race, that adds up to over a kilometer of free distance. Essentially, Klaebo is skiing a shorter race than everyone else on the track. His technique is so refined that he generates 15% more power while using 10% less effort. While his competitors are fighting the snow, Klaebo is simply flowing over it. How? Timing. In 2016, at 19, Klaebo spent an entire summer, 4 hours daily, skiing in ultra-slow motion. Focused on the precise microsecond when weight transfers from ski to ski. Most skiers, 0.12 seconds. Klaebo, 0.08 seconds. That 0.04 of a second difference, multiplied thousands of times, creates rhythms so efficient it looks effortless. Scientists call it optimal kinetic chain sequencing. I call it beautiful. Let's talk genetics. Studies suggest VO2 max is 50% heritable. Your genes load the gun. Training pulls the trigger. Lactate threshold? 30% genetic. Economy of movement? Only 20% heritable. 80% is trainable. In 2021, researchers analyzed muscle fiber composition in 50 elite cross-country skiers. Most distance specialists showed 75 to 80% type 1 fibers. Type 1, slow twitch, built for endurance, diesel engines. Type 2, fast twitch, built for power, nitrous boosters. Klæbo's biopsy, 65% type 1, 35% type 2, almost perfect balance. But weirder, his type 1 fibers had 40% more mitochondria, those tiny power plants in muscle cells, than average elite skiers. And his type 2 fibers showed fatigue resistance comparable to most athletes' type 1 fibers. One researcher called it, quote, hybrid muscle physiology that bridges sprint and endurance in a way we've never documented. This explains his paradox. Klæbo has won Olympic gold in the sprint event, 1.5 kilometers, 3 to 4 minutes of pure anaerobic chaos. But also gold in the 30-kilometer skiathlon, 2+ hours of aerobic grinding. Historically, no one does both. It's physiologically contradictory. Until Klæbo, February 10th, 2026. Milan Cortina Olympics. Men's individual sprint. Klaebo is hunting his 7th Olympic gold. The final begins. Klæbo starts strong, but the American Ben Ogden is pushing hard through the course. The last 200 meters, Klæbo finds another gear. He accelerates with explosive power, his technique staying razor-sharp even under maximum fatigue. Cross-country skiing at elite level demands power outputs that rival cycling sprints, with the added complexity of coordinating upper and lower body simultaneously in unstable snow conditions. He crosses the line first, 0.87 seconds ahead, nearly a full second of dominance. Gold number 7. He collapses, chest heaving, the signature aftermath of pushing lactate systems to their absolute limit. 2 days later, February 13th, the 10-kilometer interval start, a time trial against the clock. This has historically been one of his weaker events in World Cup competition. He starts measured, controlled. At the halfway mark, 5 kilometers in, he's already 18 seconds ahead of the entire field. Then he attacks the final climb, the brutal ascent that Norwegian media will later nickname Klæbo climb. Final time: 20 minutes, 36.2 seconds. He wins by 4.9 seconds over Canada's Antoine Deloge. Gold number 8. He has now tied the all-time Winter Olympic record for most gold medals. He drops to his knees at the finish line. 2 days after that, February 15th, the men's 4x7.5 kilometer relay. Klaebo takes the anchor leg. Norway receives the handoff with a 12-second lead over France. Most skiers would protect that margin. Play it safe. Klaebo doesn't know how. He attacks from the start. By the final lap, he's extended Norway's lead to 22.2 seconds. Gold medal number 9. He has just become, officially, the most decorated Winter Olympian in history. Standing alone at the summit. At 29 years old, with potentially 2 more Olympic cycles ahead of him, the question isn't if he'll add more gold, it's how many. What does this mean for you? You can steal his blueprint. Principle 1. Polarized training. 80-20 rule. Klaebo trains 800 hours yearly. 80% at zone 1 to 2. So easy you could hold full conversations. 20% brutally hard. Threshold intervals. VO2 max repeats. All out suffering. Most amateurs do the opposite. Constant moderate intensity. If you're running 4 times weekly, make 3 conversational easy, 1 structured intervals. Watch what happens in 8 weeks. Principle 2. Technique obsession. Klaebo dedicates 15 to 20% of training to pure technique. Improving economy of movement by 5% equals improving VO2 max by 3 to 4 milliliters per kilogram per minute. That's enormous. Film yourself. Work on drills. Small fixes, massive returns. Principle 3. Strength is not optional. Klaebo lifts heavy. 3 sessions weekly off-season, 2 during competition. Why? Technique falls apart under fatigue. Research showed adding 2 strength sessions weekly improved economy by 6 to 8% in runners and cyclists. You don't need to squat 400 pounds, but 2 days weekly of compound movements will improve your endurance. Trust the science. Have we reached the ceiling? Dr. Sandbach published a paper. Theoretical maximum VO2 max sits around 98 to 100 milliliters per kilogram per minute. Klaebo is at 93 to 94. 4 to 6% window remains. In a 2024 podcast, Klaebo said, quote, "I want to be the first human to break 100 VO2 max. Scientists say it's the theoretical limit. I think that's just a number someone made up. Why not me? Every generation thinks they've hit the limit. In 1960, researchers believed 70 was the ceiling. In 1980, 85. In 2000, 92. Now we're looking at 96 plus. The limit keeps moving because someone shows up who refuses to accept it." Here's what Klaebo's story teaches us. Genetics matter. Yes. But genetics are the starting line, not the finish. Klaebo has spent 13 years obsessing over details most athletes ignore. Technique refinement, polarized intensity, strength integration, recovery protocols. He's not just talented, he's relentlessly, systematically intelligent, and that's replicable. You won't reach 94 VO2 max, neither will I. But you can improve your economy by 10%. Raise your lactate threshold by 5 to 8%. Build strength that protects joints and maintains power under fatigue. Those adaptations are available right now. The question is, are you willing to do the work? The next time you're struggling through a workout, breathing hard, legs burning, Remember Klæbo collapsing after his 9th gold. Heart rate, 218. Lactate, 26.8. Medical staff surrounding him. And remember what he said 2 hours later. The pain is temporary. The gold medal is forever. The limits you think are absolute are just numbers waiting to be rewritten. Go rewrite yours. But this level of glory comes with a terrifying biological price tag that goes far beyond exhaustion. In our next breakdown, we're uncovering why the world's best skiers finish their races with the literal taste of blood in their mouths. We're putting marathon legend Eliud Kipchoge into a physiological thought experiment. Could a summer goat survive the frozen hell of the Winter Olympics? We're diving into the ski lung phenomenon and the permanent cost of competing at 15 degrees below zero. Click here to watch the brutal price of Olympic glory, what cold does to your body. I'm Sebastian. This is the Injury Breakdown.